The Department of Defense's vision of sustainability is to maintain the ability to operate into the future without decline, either in the mission or in the natural and manufactured systems that support it. Texas Military Forces members are a part of this vision. Throughout the organization, we are actively applying sustainability practices and making a difference. What you do can make a difference too. How? By practicing simple behaviors. Turn off a light, turn down the heat, close a window, report a water leak, and reduce waste. Purchase only what you use. Recycle and reuse assets where you can. What you do as one individual does make a difference. You are helping us conserve resources, which in turn help you continue mission operations in a more sustainable environment. Modern mission success includes deployment and integration of sustainability principles and practices across all lines of operation. For our infrastructure needs, this means we are incorporating energy and water-efficient designs, materials and equipment into construction and renovation practices, reusing materials or procuring new materials with longer life cycles and lower maintenance costs, recreating green spaces and enhancing natural site selection features, assimilating renewable resource technology and practices in and among existing infrastructure, and much more.
What does it mean to integrate sustainability practices into our buildings and infrastructure? Maintaining existing buildings throughout Texas is a part of the long-term plan to sustain military infrastructure in support of current and future missions and values. That means making the infrastructure more sustainable without compromising its historic value and setting. For example, Camp Mabry, founded in 1892, is the third oldest active military installation in the state of Texas. The historic properties that make up Camp Mabry are significant assets, connecting our fighting men and women to their military heritage and history at local, state, and national levels. My role as a historic preservationist is to ensure that these significant historic properties are protected and maintained. Rehabilitations of historic buildings now incorporate new approaches and technologies to promote long-term viability of buildings while protecting their historic significance. Here you see buildings undergoing major rehabilitations. The goal with all of our rehabilitations is to make improvements to meet occupant needs, improve energy efficiency, and support the mission, while still protecting and retaining, to the greatest extent possible, the materials, character, and historic integrity of these buildings. Historic property renovation also includes enhancing beneficial building assets without compromising the intrinsic historic character of the buildings. How do we do this? We first need to consider the times in which these buildings were constructed. Before mechanical and electrical systems came along to create a comfortable and controlled indoor environment, building designers had to work with nature and design buildings with effective and efficient passive energy management systems. Here's an example of a building that was built with these passive energy management systems in mind. This building recently underwent a major rehabilitation. These passive energy management systems included site selection to manipulate sun exposure and heat, large operable windows for increased natural light and ventilation, and solar shading by means of porches and trees to reduce solar gain. As modern times arrived, active management systems like air conditioning and electricity were installed. In these historic buildings, modern energy management systems include efficient air conditioning, heat, light, and plumbing systems with reduced energy and water usage. The roofs and first floor framing have modern insulation to help maintain uniform temperatures and reduce heating and cooling energy waste. At the same time, original porches are reconstructed to help with shading, thereby reducing solar heat gain. This keeps the historic feel of the building while keeping the porch cool. This means we are still using passive energy systems that save on resources and on costs.
Consider this. It would take about 65 years to recover the energy lost by demolishing an existing building and reconstructing a new building in its place. Lost energy is lost money. Think for a moment about the bricks in our historic buildings. It took energy to extract the clay to make the bricks. It took more energy to fire the bricks. It took even more energy to transport those bricks to the site. And it took energy to get the masons to the site to lay the bricks, and so on. After considering all the hidden energy costs, such as the use of fuel from mining, processing and transporting new material to a site, it turns out that reusing an existing building may end up conserving more overall energy than constructing a brand new building in its place. Applying sustainability means not only considering a project's basic return on investment, but going a step further by fully analyzing life cycles and potential future impacts of decisions. Analyzing life cycles means you consider all the potential impacts, like the costs of transporting new bricks to a site instead of reusing old bricks, even choosing between tearing down an old building and building a new one, or rehabbing an historic structure. Thinking sustainably takes into consideration all costs, not just the obvious ones. As the Adjutant General's environmental policy says, we all shall assess strategic decisions for balance between environmental considerations and mission requirements to ensure future sustainment of resources and readiness.
Where else can we find sustainability examples within our buildings and infrastructure? Energy and water conservation, along with practicing proper material management, are key strategies for meeting Texas Military Forces sustainability goals. Here is another example. You can see that using modern technology such as solar panels within a historic preservation framework helps energy conservation and lets us meet our renewable energy goals. One of many solar project applications around the state is located at Camp Mabry in the Historic District. The projected energy savings for Texas Military Forces on this one project is at least $20,000 per year. That's a big savings. But installing those solar panels required planning and foresight. A unique challenge was placing these very prominent and very modern solar panels within view of our historic district. Involving our State Historic Preservation Office in early conversations about appropriate site placement for these solar panels allowed us to reach an agreement on an acceptable site for their installation. The result? Historic district preserved and energy conservation mission completed. A win-win for all.
Increasing solid waste diversion from landfills is another important part of our sustainability strategy. This applies to buildings and infrastructure by practicing waste minimization, material reuse, and recycling during restoration and modernization work. The goal is to recycle and reuse existing materials as much as possible. For example, existing double-hung wood sash windows are made operable to allow for occupant-controlled natural ventilation. Existing building rehabilitations also incorporate many LEED, Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design, criteria points. What are some examples of LEED criteria points? Location. Existing buildings are already in urban developed areas, located next to public transportation options. That saves energy by reducing car use. Recycling and reuse of the existing building and building materials and the rehabilitation of existing passive energy management systems, such as the thermal insulation of thick masonry walls, natural light, and ventilation from a multitude of operable windows, with porches and trees to reduce solar gain. Upgrading all mechanical, electrical, and plumbing with energy-efficient systems also contributes to achieving LEED criteria points, as does recreating green open spaces. Removing asphalt parking lots between buildings and transforming areas into green spaces reduces the heat island effect often caused by parking lot areas. Location. Recycle and reuse, upgrades to energy-efficient systems, and increasing green space all helps obtain LEED points, but more importantly, saves energy and money, which helps the environment and the mission.
Historic preservation can be an effective tool in meeting sustainability needs. Rather than demolish, the goals become reuse and reinvestment in our historic properties. Can you think of other things we can do for our Texas Military Forces sites?
Your sustainability ideas are important to us. The Texas Military Forces Sustainability Team evaluates every submission and presents the best ideas to senior leadership. The Texas Military Forces implements ideas that are determined to be feasible. Check out the Sustainability Awards site on the homepage of TKO. It is your avenue to add your voice to the sustainability team and help us meet the Texas Military Forces strategic sustainability goals. Even the tiniest of ideas, multiplied many times, may generate huge energy and resource savings when applied statewide. Give that good idea of yours a shot. We want to hear from you. We are on our way. Achieving sustainable buildings and infrastructure is no longer just a futuristic concept. The Texas Military Forces is actively applying Department of Defense sustainability principles and practices to meet today's natural resource challenges. We are protecting the environment's dwindling resources to sustain our mission and secure our future, and you are a part of our team. Each and every member of the Texas Military Forces must be committed to energy, water, and resource conservation. So that means not only giving us new and better sustainable ideas, but practicing sustainable behaviors every day. What does this look like? Key behavioral changes must occur in each and every person that works for or on behalf of the Texas Military Forces. We must leverage every opportunity to succeed if we are to meet DoD, NGB, and Texas Military Forces sustainability goals.
Meeting agency expectations requires everyone in the Texas Military Forces to practice sustainable behaviors. These behaviors are designed to help us conserve our resources and meet our agency's strategic sustainability goals. As a matter of fact, we can't be successful without you.
Some expected behaviors and practices include turning air conditioning temperature to no lower than 80 when last to leave, turning heating temperature to no higher than 65 when last to leave, ensuring all windows and doors are closed when air conditioning or heating is in operation, turning off unnecessary exterior lights, check with security first, turning off all lights when last to leave, turning off unused electrical equipment, unplugging all chargers when not in use, ensuring hot water heating temperatures are lowered to no higher than 120 degrees Fahrenheit, kitchens exempt, reporting all drips or leaks immediately by turning in the proper work order repair request. Practice sustainability behaviors every day. Protect our resources, sustain our mission, and secure our future.